To you, I'm Lisa Broom. This is the CBC Evening News. 2 earthquakes and 2 tremors. First, Barbadians were awakened by a 5.7 magnitude quake off Barbados just after 7 a.m. Then again, a more powerful event at about 11:15, this time measuring 6.4. 2 tremors would follow within minutes. Prompted by memories of the powerful tremor that rocked the island in 2007, Barbadians did not panic this time, but from those who spoke to CBC, the experiences were far from forgettable. Fear and anxiety were some of the emotions shared by Barbadians following today's tremors.
I look in that if I see the water move, I left the umbrella and the chairs and back to St. Thomas. So I watching the sea to see if I see water going backward. As I see water move an inch and I back home, I run in. So if you come back, I'm dead home, not on the beach.
I was scared his neck because I just got my breakfast and I was over the sink and I felt a shake and I said, huh? And I look at my friend Sherry and I said, Sherry, and move. I said, huh? We get over here and see somebody see the building shaking. I said, huh? And we sit up on the 4th floor and 6 above me. I said, huh? Man, I passed people like upon a 60 miles per hour coming down the stairs.
But some remained calm throughout the ordeal.
I felt security, not just because of the building, but an awareness that I am also in the presence of God. So whatever happens, I had that full assurance that I would be safe.
Over at the Lime Grove Lifestyle Center, several employees and customers assembled in the parking lot after the building was evacuated.
We're just in Louis Vuitton, and my wife here was just looking at some purses, and I thought it was me, but I felt a little shaking in the ground, which felt pretty cool. I never felt that from Canada. So, and the lady in Louis Vuitton was looking at the earrings, right? And she saw him shake.
I just saw everybody running around, freaking out, and I was just relaxed. I didn't know what was happening. And then somebody told me, get out the bar. There's a tremor.
Safety precautions were also paramount for some city employees. Jubilee Gardens was the assembly point for hundreds of workers. Over at the Pebbles and Browns Beach, however, the threat of a possible tsunami did not seem to scare the hundreds of people taking a swim or relaxing on the sand.
When I feel it, and the people that was in the water tower, you understand?
We just stood in the car there and we felt it for a couple seconds. My wife felt a little bit dizzy. I didn't believe her at first because she wasn't feeling well, so she took some Tylenol. So I was wondering if it was that, but then I felt it too, and it wasn't scary, but it was a little bit exciting.
The last major earth tremor felt by the public was in 2007. The USGS estimates as many as 1 million people felt this most recent jolt. Tremors were felt in several eastern Caribbean islands, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Martinique and Guadeloupe, and as far south as Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname and French Guiana. It sent a number of residents in Guyana in a panic, and many ran out of their homes and businesses. So let's take a look at the timeline again for today's seismic activity. First, a 5.7 magnitude occurring at 7:02. The second, an even stronger one, was a 6.4 magnitude recorded at 11:16. Then at 11:29. That one was a 4.1 magnitude. The final tremor, a 5.3 magnitude, came around 11:36. By 12:30, officials of the Department of Emergency Management had called in the media to provide updates and comment on Barbados's readiness for such activities. According to Acting Director Kerry Hines, emergency drills need to be done at the national level. She believes the country will be better prepared to handle natural disasters.
At the national level, we, on a continuous basis, we look to improve our capability, we look to improve our planning. And we have realized that there is a need to do national drills, to conduct national drills. We do it at an agency level on an ongoing basis, and there is need to have those national drills so that persons are aware of what they need to do.
The sign says there's still a possibility of aftershocks.
Based on the information that we would have received from the Seismic Research Unit, as I said, there is a possibility that we can have aftershocks today or during the coming days. Based on that information, the 6.4 right now was the strongest. And as I said before, that would have occurred at 11:16 a.m. But there is a possibility of aftershocks.
The most significant earthquake today caused an evacuation of staff on the ground floor at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. The hospital's CEO, Dr. Dexter James, says this happened just after 11 following the 6.4 magnitude quake. He explained that the other floors, which are generally patient care areas, continue to be manned by medical staff. Dr. James stressed that at no time was patient care compromised. He added, however, that the evacuation did cause some disruptions to the outpatient clinics until safety checks were completed and instructions given for staff and visitors to reoccupy the building. The CEO said staff members have been notified to expect aftershocks. He also commended staff and the public for the orderly manner in which they handled the situation. Meanwhile, a local cleric is telling Barbadians there's no need to panic over today's earth tremors. Senator Reverend Dr. David Durant of Restoration Ministry says the increased frequency of the earthquakes is a sign of the times and the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. He also gave a bit of advice to Barbadians.
My advice would be not to panic, not to fear, but also see it as like a finger of God shaking at us to be careful, to stop this moral slide that is prevailing among us, and to look to God, because one finger of God and this island can be totally devastated. And none of us as Bajans want that to happen. We have children, grandchildren. We want our land, our island to be preserved.
Coming up after the break, Sanitation Service Authority workers back on the job after taking industrial action.
Dear Clark, I've made a fascinating discovery, the institutional water cooler. Its gravitational pull sucks people from their workstations at the busiest times of day to stand around it and chat about emerging global trends like, will pink be in fashion next season? Meanwhile, the world slows to a stop as it waits in line to be served. I don't see that trend at Globe Finance.
Globe Finance. Think outside the bank.
When it comes to their financial service, slow is out, swift is in.
Make no mistake, when you're looking for the #1 source of the latest business news in Barbados, the region, and beyond, it has to be The Bottom Line, produced and presented by me, Ryan Broom, every weekday morning on CBC's 94.7 FM at 7:50 a.m. It comes to you with the kind compliments of the Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union Limited, reminding you to save smart and borrow smarter. So remember, make it your business to tune into The Bottom Line, the best source for business news on the radio.
This week on Launch.
Just wait till tomorrow come. Wait until tomorrow come. It's my life support when I on the go and I jamming someday. How I getting on and holding back nothing. Yeah. I wanna jump up on the road with you till the morning. I wanna grind on you, baby, if the rain is falling. And even if the sun is hot and too are we burning. Oh gosh, and I just can't stop the feeling that I'm feeling.
Join us every Thursday at 9:30 p.m. for another episode of Launch.
It's a feeling that I just can't hide.
This Friday on It's Party Time.
Workers at the Sanitation Service Authority are back on the job after a brief work stoppage this morning. They were complaining about not being paid for the days they were on strike. Minister of Environment, Dr. Dennis Lowe, is pleased that they are back to work. He explained the practice going forward for payment.
I know that the Ministry of the Civil Service was contacted and they indicated that the matter of pay would be in the jurisdiction of the statutory corporation to be decided by the board, making a recommendation to the minister. So I've instructed the board to proceed with their meeting so that the matter can be expedited as quickly as possible. Once they have met and they have made a recommendation, the minister will then look at the recommendation and make a final decision on the matter.
The problem to get to this point.
It seemed to have been their belief that the Sanitation Service Authority had a responsibility for covering their payment for that non-work period. Now, it was my understanding that the NUPW, one of their representatives, did indicate in a press statement that the NUP would pay them and that they should go and join the strike, which they did. And I thought that that was the end of that arrangement. Of course, they operate on the principle of equal pay for equal work.
Some of the churches in Barbados do not support legalizing same-sex marriage on this island. This announcement came today at a news conference where some church leaders, led by Senator Reverend Dr. David Durant, came together at Restoration Ministries. Reverend Durant says the church strongly opposes the agenda of the Lesbians, Gay, Bisexual and Transgender Association to have same-sex marriage legalized.
We're not here to bless those purposes. No marriage can be sanctioned by the church if the very basis of the marriage involves acts that put the couple outside of eternal life, God's gift of salvation. No matter what our society may legislate, the law of God is clear that a marriage is not a godly marriage if it is a same-sex union. No church that takes the Bible seriously can sanction a union between homosexuals or lesbians.
Senator Durant acknowledges same-sex couples may travel to the States to be married, but he says that union will not be recognized here in Barbados.
If a same-sex couple come back here from America or England, wherever, and you can't stop them from coming back because they're citizens of the country. All right, so you cannot stop them from coming back. But then you don't have to reach out the benefits and so forth to them as the legalized culture that they have got it done in, because it is not legalized here in Barbados.
Larger cruise ships will soon be home porting in Barbados. This comes as work on berth 5 at the Bridgetown port is expected to be completed soon. Tourism Minister Richard Seeley says the expansion will allow the port to be more competitive, bringing more passengers into the country.
We'll be home porting from Barbados from November of this year, and that is because of the investment that we are making in our port facilities. As a matter of fact, we will be able to comfortably home port 2 mega ships at the same time. Mineshaft 3, which carries 3,000 plus passengers, will be home porting the same time as the Britannia.
We'll take a look at regional news after this break. Stay with us.